People often say the possibilities are endless, and that's supposed to make us feel excited. But honestly, I think for a lot of people, especially people that feel stuck, that can be overwhelming because now you're faced with 1,000 new choices. Should I go back to school? Should I start a new job? Should I move? Should I travel? Should I finally do that one thing that I've always wanted to do? And before long, those possibilities stop feeling exciting. They start feeling heavy because underneath all those possibilities are fears that nobody really likes to talk about. Fears like, what if I choose wrong? What if I waste my time? What if I fail? What if I look foolish? What if I start and discover I'm not good at it? I invite you to take a few minutes and let's dig a little deeper into those questions. Let's start with, what if I choose wrong? I think this is one of the biggest fears that people have. What if I choose wrong? What does wrong really mean? And wrong according to who? Wrong to me, my family, society? And what if that thing that someone thinks is wrong is exactly what I need to learn at this time? Looking back at my life, some of those things that may have seemed wrong to other people actually led me to some very important moments in my life. Maybe choosing wrong isn't the problem at all. Maybe never choosing is. What if I waste my time? I understand that fear, especially as we get older. Time is precious. But then I ask myself another question. What am I doing while I'm waiting? If I spend 6 months wondering if I should try something, didn't I just spend 6 months? If I spend 3 years waiting for certainty before I try something, didn't I just spend 3 years? Doing nothing is a choice. Waiting is still a choice. Time passes either way. Maybe we're so afraid to waste time that we end up wasting more of it. What if I fail? I've asked myself this question so many times. But then I ask, what does failure mean? Does it mean that I've learned something? Does it mean that I've gained a new experience? Does it mean that I've discovered a path that wasn't meant for me? But honestly, the only true failure that I can think of is quitting on myself completely. Everything is information. Everything is growth. Everything teaches me something. And every lesson moves me forward. What if I look foolish? This one is interesting. Because when I really think about it, look foolish to who? Whose standards am I using? And why do their opinions carry more weight than my own desire to move forward? Most of the people that I admire have looked foolish at some point, and every person trying something new looks inexperienced. That's part of the process. And if I'm afraid of looking foolish trying something new, then aren't I really afraid of people seeing me trying? But isn't looking foolish trying something new better than sitting on the sidelines just wishing for something else? What if I'm not good at it? This one might be my favorite so far, because when did we decide that we had to be good at everything immediately? Children don't think that way. They try things, they fall, they learn, they get back up, they play. So what if I'm not good at it? Did I learn something new? Did I meet new people? Did I enjoy it? Did I discover something new about myself? And who gets to define good anyway? What if being a beginner is actually where growth starts? Maybe the goal isn't good. Maybe the goal is to be curious enough to begin. I think a lot of people are carrying around futures that haven't even happened yet. They're suffering from possibilities that are in their imagination. And because of that, they stay exactly where they are. Not because they want to, but because it feels safer. But I've been thinking about something. What if choosing wrong isn't actually the worst thing that could happen? What if the worst thing that could happen is that you spend years waiting because you're afraid of choosing anything at all? Because every meaningful thing that I've done, especially over the last few years, didn't start with certainty. It didn't start with confidence. It didn't start with a guarantee. It started with curiosity. I didn't know if YouTube would work. I didn't know if my candle business would work. Some things worked better than I expected, and some things didn't work out at all. But every single one of them taught me something. Every single thing moved me forward. And none of them would have happened at all if I waited for certainty. Because certainty wasn't even available at that time. I had to move first. And maybe that's where we get it wrong. Maybe we're trying to figure out our whole life without taking the first step. Maybe we're trying to guarantee an outcome that nobody can guarantee. And maybe we're waiting for certainty when we really need willingness, a willingness to try, a willingness to learn, a willingness to fall down and get back up again. Because if you fall, so what? You get back up, you learn, you're still here, you're still learning, you're still moving. And honestly, most of the things that we worry about won't happen the way we imagine them at all. One of my favorite sayings is, why worry? It probably won't happen. And the older I get, the more truth I find in that. Because living in fear isn't living, it's waiting. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life waiting. I'd rather take that step. I'd rather learn. I'd rather look foolish. And I'd rather discover what's possible. Because one small step into the unknown has taught me more than years of standing still. So maybe the question isn't, what if I fail? Maybe the question is, what if I don't try? What is one thing in your life that you could try today? I would love to hear about it. Let's do this together, and I'll see you next time.